Good morning, friends. So today I have 2 bowls already filled. We got chicken in one and the broth from making the chicken in the other. We're going to get these bowls emptied, cleaned and prepared, ready to make some dough. So we're going to do a double batch of bagels this morning so we can have it in the freezer. That can last us the whole week, as well as a loaf of sandwich bread. Now, sandwich bread is not... I haven't mastered sandwich bread. I feel like I've mastered the bagels. I am very happy with the recipe and how I do the bagels. My bagels, store-bought bagels, I think my bagels win. I haven't obviously tried every single store-bought bagel, but I am very, very happy with that recipe. Sandwich bread, on the other hand, that's not my... I haven't perfected it. I haven't found the perfect recipe for us, or even the method, to be completely honest. So we're going to experiment with the sandwich bread, and I'll show you guys how I do my bagels. But first, we will get the chicken done. So with the chicken, I just had it last night, boiling for an hour with onion, bay leaf, salt and pepper and carrot to make shredded chicken to add into our sandwiches and wraps and salads, whatever, throughout the week. And I also made broth too in the process of making chicken prepared. So I got myself a nice coffee and let's get started. All right, so the first thing I want to do is the broth bowl, because this has been sitting in the fridge. You can see the 2 different colors here. This dark, more white gray color is fat, and then here you got the yummy broth. And you're only going to get this once your broth is cold. If it's hot, you're not going to have a clear layer, and all we're going to do is just skim off. You can see how jelly like that is. That's really good. But we're going to skim off this dark grayish part, because we don't want that in our soups or dishes that require broth. Now, I like chicken broth because I try to do most of my cooking scratch made. Doesn't always happen, and that's completely fine, but that's what I prefer to do, how I cook a meal. And chicken broth, even just adding a cup to a sauce recipe, like chili con carne, for example, I'm probably going to add a cup of broth. I just use chicken broth. I don't know if I said chili con carne is dinner tonight. That's why I thought like chili con carne, for example. So yeah, I like to freeze it in 1 cup measurements in the freezer. And then if I want to make a soup, I can just get 2-3 packs out. If it's 2 recipes, which it generally is just to add to recipes. And recipes generally call for 1 cup at a time. Then it's already done, and you can put it in frozen. You can see how nice and gelatinous this is. I did cook this broth down a little bit more than I usually do, so I'm very happy with how that looks. And that is enough. We don't need to get every single piece of fat out, because fat is flavor, but you don't want a greasy feel. So just emptied, I just took that, put it in the bin. Sometimes as well, it's just chicken and vegetables. Sometimes I do heaps of vegetables. I'll have a pack in my freezer of like onion peels, garlic peels, carrot, any peels, except for red onion, because then that does tint your broth. I do like to keep in the freezer. I don't have any at the moment, so that's why I just done a couple of bay leaves and a carrot and an onion. But this can go into your compost system, absolutely. So I normally do that. Didn't today, to be honest. It just went in the trash because I'm about to take the trash out, so my mind just thought, quickly pop this in and then I can take out the trash. But anyway, I'm using sandwich Ziploc bags. I just like to fold this down, so if we get dribbles, it's not going to be on the actual seal. Well, not as badly on the seal. And this bowl, I just wiped it out. Looks completely clean again. And I'm going to put a cup in here, and we're going to use that for our dinner tonight.
So I like to use just the sandwich Ziploc bags. I find it a lot more cheaper than the proper nice freezer Ziploc bags. And it generally does not last that long in my freezer to warrant the proper, more expensive freezer bags. If there's a way, just for like a cup measurer, to make it less plastic, that would be better. But I haven't really figured that out. I don't do the lucky last pieces of my broth because I need to get myself like a cheesecloth or something to get it really fine. That's probably just pepper, but it is a little bit off-putting having something that should be a clear broth. So anyway, I make sure to zip them up, take out all of the air from the bags, and I like to lay them flat. You can obviously put them in the freezer just like that, but they're so much easier flat. That way I can just snap them frozen and put them in whatever dish I need them for if I haven't taken it out in advance to defrost it. And it takes up so much less space this way when that's nice and flat in the freezer. So this one chicken has given us, I think it was 4 1-cup amounts of broth for the freezer and 1 cup that we put in the fridge to add to our dinner tonight. And to be completely honest, I didn't do chili con carne that night or the day after. Today's now the day after that, and I think I'm just going to make like a spaghetti bolognese instead, and I'm just going to add that 1 cup I had in the fridge, which is right here, in our pasta sauce, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. So now we're shredding up the chicken. I just take as much meat off as I can on the chicken carcass. Chicken carcass can get composted. That's completely fine. And then the chicken meat, I weigh it out to about 100 grams. And that is like a really good serving of chicken meat for like a salad sandwich or a salad bowl, to add it to a wrap, whatever we want it for. And sometimes I'll use a couple of these packages to chuck into like a chicken pasta dish for dinner as well.
So that's given us six 100-gram bags of chicken, and like this is a hefty size just to add into a wrap or a sandwich, like, or salad, whatever. So 100 grams is definitely plenty to add into our meal, generally for lunches. I'm going to put 2 in the fridge now so Nick and I can have 1, and as soon as we have these, will go in the freezer. So once we have 1 for the day, we can pull 1 out. It sucks that I can't date these because I ruined my marker and didn't replace it. So these will be good in the fridge. I made this last night, 3-4 days, probably 3 days. I know we're always a little iffy, so we'll definitely eat a pack each within 3 days. Once we eat 1, we can take 1 out the freezer, probably take a day in the fridge to defrost anyway, and we can go on like that. So chicken done. This bowl we can compost, and then Daisy has a good amount of fat and gristle and a little bit of chicken meat to be added into her dinners, which I'm probably going to make that tomorrow. All right, my area is nice and clean. I had just written out from what I had on my phone the recipe. It's just a ChatGPT recipe for sandwich bread, but one of the things that ChatGPT always has, well, not always has, recipes for the sandwich bread that I've always seen is for it to, you roll it into a log, but it always, when I slice it, you can tell it's been rolled into a log. That method just does not work for me. I don't know if I put too much oil in the bowl, so then the outside has that layer. I don't know. So this is the ChatGPT recipe, but I'm not going to do that technique. I'm simply going to get it out the bowl, punch it down, and just bang it straight into the loaf dish. We'll go through it anyway when we do it, but that's what I'm thinking, because that's one of my issues that I do have when I make sandwich bread. So again, like I said, this is more like a trial and error experiment. We'll see if we can do it. I mean, they've always been nice. They've just not been, like, it's just not it, you know? So otherwise, if you do have a tried and true trusted sandwich bread recipe, definitely let me know. Leave a comment, or you can email me a recipe, or any recipes. You can email me. But let's just try this. So yeah, we'll start the sandwich bread first, and then we'll do we'll do the sandwich bread first, and then we will do I can't speak. What else am I making? Bagels. We'll do the bagels second, because yeah, this takes longer. So I do like to scale or weigh out most of my ingredients. ChatGPT, this is the bread flour I use. ChatGPT does have, if you search up on their recipes, measurements for cups or spoons and for the grams. So you don't need to convert it. It shows it for both, like that, for all of their recipes. So things like 2 tablespoons of sugar, which was 20 whatever grams. It's sugar, like it's fine. I'll do 2 tablespoons. But things like the flour, the yeast, the butter, I do prefer those kind of measurements in grams. So I just written it out in my preference. But again, you can search it up yourself on ChatGPT, or I will leave what I've done in the description, exactly how I've written it out if you want to see that. Anyway, flour 450 grams. Also, instant dried yeast. I don't need to bloom this yeast. If you have active dried yeast, you do need to pre-bloom that. If you have this instant dried, even if a recipe states to bloom it, you don't need to do it because of how this yeast has been dried, something like that. I don't know. I don't know the full science behind it, but I'm not going to be pre-blooming because I don't need it, because this is an instant yeast. But if you have the active dried, you do. And blooming is just having it in warm water and sugar. But instead, we'll just put the sugar and the yeast in the bowl. So, sugar, 2 tablespoons, which is 21 grams. I think the conversion was like 23 or 24, but that's completely fine. Yeast, we want 7 grams. Right, there's 8. That's fine. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'm just gonna 9 grams of salt. Alright, get that off the scale. I do like to use my Danish dough hook. I will leave a link for that down in the description if you want to have a look. So I'm just gonna blend all the dry ingredients together. Scales and my pot. We want 30 grams of butter. $21. That might be a bit much. Oh no, 28. 30. Now I've used my 1 cup measure for the broth. So I've got my 1/2 cup here. For milk, we want 1 cup. And I use light milk. You can use whole or light. I'm sure it's fine. Or maybe that's where I go wrong, because I always use light milk. We'll see. Maybe I should experiment with using whole milk. And 1/2 cup of water. So I'm just going to fill this eyeball about halfway. 1/4 cup of water. And I'm just going to put this just to get it nice melted and warmed up. You don't want it too hot to kill, and you don't want it not hot enough to not do what it needs to do with the yeast. And another thing I like to do, especially in the winter, we are warming up, so I don't feel like I need to do it, but in the winter the bench gets quite cold. Your stainless steel bowls are quite cold. So I like to have a tea towel to kind of snug the bowl, keep it like a little blanket to protect it from getting so cold. I don't feel like that's needed though, because we are now in spring and the weather's definitely warming up, the house is warming up, so it should be all fine. We got our water, butter and milk mix here. So it's very, very simple to make breads and doughs. And if you do have a stand mixer, that's definitely going to be a whole lot more simpler. But I, for now, do everything by hand. My mother has said she will gift me a stand mixer, but I really do want a KitchenAid. Plus, I do enjoy doing things from hand, and I just feel like I wouldn't use it that much for how bulky they are, but if it's a KitchenAid, they're beautiful and gorgeous, I'll definitely display it. Otherwise, I don't know. But Nick's gifted me, because I do have a handheld beaters for when I make cakes and things, a KitchenAid one of that for Christmas. So I do need to wait. He's already got it. He's been spoiling me this year already. We're only in September. Anyhow, this is kind of shaggy. So we're going to take this out and knead it by hand.
So although this dough felt really, really good, it didn't end up being the best sandwich bread for us. I also forgot to add flour to my surface, so I quickly just done it there. But you just knead it and knead it and knead it for a good 8 to 10 minutes. Any kind of bread dough is always, I find around that time, about 3-4 minutes in, it will start to be smooth, and I used to stop them like, oh, it's smooth. But if you just keep going, I promise you it will be better. But I think where I went wrong now with this bread is I had it in the fridge 24 hours before we even used it or sliced into it, and the flavor was fine, it just wasn't soft anymore, even though it was wrapped up. I don't know. But one of my issues that I did say about maybe oil, I've been greasing too much oil. You need oil so it doesn't stick. I think that wasn't an issue with this bread, so that was very good with the amount of oil I just tipped in for that one. But yeah, so knead it out, cover it with Glad wrap, and we just let it sit for at least an hour before we deal with that dough again. I definitely am going to experiment making the exact same sandwich bread recipe again, but I think I'm going to do it on the day that we would want sandwich, like bread, and so I'll slice it up once it's cooled, and then maybe just chuck it in the freezer rather than putting it in the fridge for 24 hours. I don't know. I'm still experimenting. So if you do have any tips, tricks, recipes, ideas when it comes to just your traditional sandwich bread, please let me know, because I'm struggling out here. I look on TikTok and other recipes and I feel like I follow them to a T sometimes, and it just doesn't always work out for me. But there's my recipe for bagels. If you did want to take a screenshot, I thought this might be easier rather than me typing it all out in the caption below. But if you do want it typed out, let me know and I can definitely do that. And that's the sandwich bread we have just done.
So, because I am doubling the recipe, we do double the flour. We do have this other flour open. But one batch is 500 grams. So double is exactly a kilo. So I have to open this bag anyway. And I'm just curious to see if it's actually a kilo. So this is kilo net, it should be dead on a kilo. If it had that E, then that's Cuz's estimate. It can be different. Let's see. Oh, geez. They gave us more. I mean, that's fine, but I don't want more. 1 kilo and 23 grams. 23 grams can stay in there. To be honest, this is quite a wet dough as well. I do find myself adding a fair bit of flour. 4.5 teaspoons. Four and a half. I don't even know if you have to double the yeast. If you double recipes, that if it has yeast, if you actually need to double the yeast. Don't know. I have a feeling you probably don't, but it's alright. It says 2 teaspoons, so we'll just, not doing 4 teaspoons of salt, but we'll do a little bit extra than normal. And that is all for the dry, and then the only liquid is water, so it's a much easier, I mean the sandwich bread recipe was very easy to put together anyway, but this is just that even bit more easier. Right, I'm just going to move this bowl near my sink. So what did I say? 1.5 cups. So we want 3 cups, which is 6 of these half cup measures. Alrighty. Exact same thing. Just like most doughs, I just started with the dough hook. Till you kind of can't mix it no more. Put it down onto the bench and then we'll just knead it for about 10 minutes. So this is the sandwich dough, and we've just finished the bagel dough. And as you can see, I got quite a lot of dough stuck to the counter here. So the perfect way for that is to the perfect way to clean up that is to get just your bench scraper. Scrapes it all up. And it's nice and clean. I mean, obviously I'm still going to wipe down the bench, but we'll scrape it up first to help with the cleanup. Alright, so it has been 1 hour and 10 minutes. I just finished my lunch for the sandwich bread dough, and the bagel dough has about 10 minutes to go. But that is massive. That's definitely double cheese. So let's do the next step on this one. So loaf tin, just your standard basic loaf tin. I'm going to try just a little bit of oil, like a teaspoon. I'll get my brush. If you have spray oil, you can definitely just spray, but I'll just do this to grease the pan a bit. And then I'll do a tiny bit of baking paper. So, normally the method is to punch down your dough, which I'm going to do. And normally you would roll it out and then roll it tightly into a log, tuck in your ends. I'm just going to, from here, knowing I've got the oil around the outsides, I'm just going to fold it in half, tuck in these ends and place it in. Because it's going to, just want to make sure it's this side of the paper. It's going to proof in here for another hour. So the same Glad wrap we just had. So I'm not rolling it, I'm not squishing it. This is leaving it a lot airy and fluffy. Because when I cut, there's always that line. I'm hoping it goes good and there's not going to be like a folded line. I don't know, time will tell, but that's what I'm trying that time with that dough. Just wipe up the excess oil. Now with this one, beautiful dough. Punch it as well. Take the dough out. And I'm going to try and make it a log. Try and make it an even log just so we can cut our bagels to roughly even sizes. So again, this is double the batch. The recipe, if you were to go on ChatGPT, it would say to make 8. I find that too small, so I normally make one batch to make 6. And then this should give us 12. So I'm just going to do half at a time because again, we did double this batch. So do half. I think that's a bit small. Take some from that one and add it to that. Same thing, some on that one to add to that one. But that one is quite small. Same as that actually. I'm not the best at eyeballing, but it's okay. So I do 6 here again. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, some of these, you can get your scales out. I generally do, but just trying to make these a bit more even. That should be good. So now obviously we got a ugly piece of dough. I'm just going to kind of use my thumbs to kind of just make it a smooth top, tuck everything underneath so we get a nice ball. And I'm just kind of, what I'm just doing, I'm just kind of pinching, pushing these with this hand, pushing it like this into a ball, and I'm pinching with this other hand, but I just work it this way. And then you want to see and kind of, oops, do this motion to make that nice and top. So all I got is a C, my hand's in like a C, and I'm just pushing back and forth, kind of rolling. And that will make the top nice and tight, just like so. And then that's the bottom of it. which is fine because we're going to make a hole, and that's your bagel hole. So I'm going to do that to all of these. So again, just kind of making the ball, pinching down. And then rolling. And you can just feel the difference. Woo. All right, so that's boiling. This color, and it gets foamy like this just because of the honey, and it's completely fine. So we'll just give that a mix. Now I always use this pot. And I normally only do 2 bagels at a time, but we're going to see how 3 bagels. So we're just going to pick it up from our tray and plunk it in. It always shapes a bit. I think these are I'm not going to be able to do, you know what, we'll squish it in, see how it goes. I don't think I should have done double the yeast because these are so big. But I'll put these 3 back under the plastic wrap for the other tray. And we want this to simmer or boil, whatever, on this one side for 1 minute. We'll flip them, and then 45 seconds. I find that gives it the nicest. I'm just making sure that's not stuck. Which they're not. Okay, so that should be good. But you can see the little air bubbles on there too, which is yummy and delicious. Yeah, these are really big bagels. Although you double recipe, I don't think I should have doubled the yeast. How are we going for time? I'm just timing it. Normally I'll have my phone on the side with 60 seconds and 45 seconds ready to go. Turn that down a bit because that's boiling up high. Right, so we'll give these a flip. And about 40 to 45 seconds. Good to note though, even if I make giant bagels, I can do 3 in this pot. Alrighty, so, oh my goodness, I have to turn this heat down. I'm gonna reflip one, take it out, try and drain, try not carry over too much water. And we're gonna be baking it in the sheet. These look absolutely ridiculous of how big they are. Right, 3 massive bagels. My goodness. These other ones are so fluffy. Whoop. Turn the heat up a little bit. Alright, so this, for the most part, they stayed more round. These ones here definitely got stretched out to be a bit long, but it's fine. It's going to taste delicious. So you can do an egg wash. I don't know why. I like the consistency of the colour that a milk wash gives. So I like to brush them with some milk. And if you're going to do flavoured bagels, my favourite sesame, I forgot to buy sesame seeds. Otherwise, my second favourite is just a plain bagel. I've experimented, I've tried Parmesan bagel, like Parmesan and herbs, sorry. I think it was mixed herb or maybe just oregano. I can't remember what I used. You know what, I'm getting distracted. And I didn't take the time, but this could probably use a flip. So once you've done your milk wash here, then that's when you will put your seasonings on. And I've done like a garlic and onion, just using garlic powder, onion powder. It was nice, probably my least favourite flavour I've done. But yeah, love sesame. Otherwise, I think I just prefer them plain. Haven't tried the everything but the bagel seasoning, which makes it the everything bagel, I think. I haven't tried that yet, but I don't have the ingredients to make that. One day we'll try. These definitely need to come out. So before I do the egg wash for these ones and put these in the oven's preheated, by the way, at 210 degrees. I'm just going to put some more bagels in the water. Yeah, oven's preheated 220 degrees Celsius. So once we do this egg wash, they can go in, and then these ones will be completely fine to sit on the bench and wait until these ones are done and out the oven. Because I prefer to bake them on the middle rack. I don't want one to be on a lower rack. So doing one tray at a time, but these ones are now going to go into the oven. Alright, first lot of bagels have came out. We are just about to take out the second lot. A couple of these are flat. I think that happened in the boiling process, maybe. So oven for the bagels is at 220. We want it down to 170, was it, for the bread? Let me check. 180 degrees for the bread. So we do want to turn it down, 50, 60, 70, 80. We're going to let this sit here for just a couple moments before we transfer over here. I had to restack these bagels up because I don't have much room here. So that's what these ones are looking like, and as you can hear, but when they do set down, they do go a little, still crisp but not as much. But see, this one's really flat compared to, I don't know, or maybe because these did sit out for like 20 minutes on the bench before they went in. But either way, I'm sure they're all going to be lovely and delicious. Our bread should have probably been in maybe about half an hour ago, so it is slightly overproof, but I don't think it's going to matter that much. So that's what our bread is looking like. And I'm going to, I got the milk here. We'll give this a brush of milk as well, and when it comes out, we're going to brush it with butter. Just go in with this brush, actually, kind of like shape it a little bit because it's such a soft dough. That looks quite nice. So that's all the milk we need. We don't need any more milk. This will go into the oven. Oven's probably a bit higher, but that's fine. Watch out, Daisy. It's gonna be hot. Come here. Sit. Sit. It's hot. 30 to 35 minutes, so we'll do 25. And then we can rotate the bread in the oven. Let's get these off. And if it needs a further 5-10 minutes, you can. So they peel off the bagels really easily. They look so good. And the bread is just out the oven. It's definitely not as dark as what the bagels are, probably because it's a lower temperature. I have just put the butter on as well. Looks and smells delicious. So hopefully it's cooked through. It looks really cute. I like how even it looks. Normally my sandwich breads are always a lot thicker on one side. I don't know. I have a better feeling with this bread. Hopefully we're good. But what I am going to do, here's the first lot of bagel. I'm going to cut it open and have one so fresh. It's so soft, but yeah, it's still nice, very nice. So let's eat some of this with some of that chicken we had earlier. I'm hoping, because it is a thicker bagel, that it is cut through. I mean, that it is cooked through fully. And I always toast my bagels, but because this is like fresh, again, we're just going to have it not toasted. Moment of truth. Yum. Oh no, it's very slightly gummy. Just right there, it's a bit gummy. It's just very, very slightly undercooked there, which is weird, it's on the edge. The rest of that looks absolutely delicious. But yeah, just one piece, whatever. I'll still bite into it, I don't care. Normally, I toast my bagels anyway. But this is my absolute favourite bagel topping is spready cream cheese. Normally when I toast it, you want it quite heavy with cream cheese. I don't know, I've never had it fresh before. Like even when I've made my fresh bagels, because I just make bagels, I don't buy them from the store. This is my first time doing the double batch though. But I'll do a nice healthy layer of cream cheese. And then our chicken. If I do a toasted bagel, even in the morning, I'll have a chicken bagel. I do toast the chicken as well. And Daisy's right behind me, so I'm going to give her some chicken treat. Come, sit, spin. Good girl. Sit. She doesn't like to sit. If I tell her to sit on this floor, she doesn't. She will sit herself, but she will not sit on this floor. Spin. 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 Come, sit. Well, you won't sit. And then this one's a new one, so we'll see if she does it. No. Go. There you go. Cheeky bugger. Look, one more piece. You want to sit. Paw. Good girl. Spin. Spin. And she does know sit and lay down, but again, she just won't on this floor. Go. Good girl. Anyway, back to my bagel. I got some dill here from our garden, some homegrown dill. So I do like quite a lot of dill. That looks delicious, don't it? Ready. Bagel. That was such a big bite. I know I did that. That's so good. It's yummy, I know. I do prefer it toasted still though, but oh, it's so yummy. I love them. And it's a sandwich loaf now cooling.
So fast forward 24 hours, this is what the bread looks like while I slice it in. Absolutely looks gorgeous, smells beautiful, but it's hard. Like there's no softness about it. I think my issue was I didn't slice into it once it cooled. I did wait a whole 24 hours, so I don't know. I will do this exact same recipe again and experiment it, but it's not soft at all. But it does look nice.
So that's going to be all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Recipes will be in the description. Or like I said, ChatGPT, and I think that's where I got even the bagel recipe from. I just may have slightly changed it. I know the egg wash was my thing. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I feel like dill and chicken in my teeth now. Excited to see how that bread goes. What I will do tomorrow, I'll cut in that bread, and this wouldn't be edited. I'll probably edit tomorrow afternoon, so I'll cut it in. Here is now an overlay of the bread the next day. Hopefully it looks good because I don't know where I'm obviously filming this. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.